Welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir. I am a CICC licensed immigration consultant. Let's talk about what to expect in the year 2023. What kind of changes are expected, anticipated, what can we do, what we cannot do, etc. So let's start with that. First one, continued imbalance between TRs and the PR quota. Or this is not a good point to bring up, but I would like you to know, because a lot of people don't tell you that. A lot of people don't talk to you. Anybody else whose interests are vested in you coming to Canada, they will tell you that Canada has an open door policy, that you can get a work permit without IELTS in 2 weeks. You can get an international student visa very easily. You can get a visit visa, which you can convert to a work visa easily. You will get sold all these kind of snake oil charms from all these people, because their interest is in just making money out of you. But you are a smart person because you're watching this video. So obviously you have to be able to understand that there is already a huge number of temporary residents in Canada. I'm talking to you really 12 lakh people or 1.2 million people and counting. That number is only growing. Obviously, now that spouses of all occupations can also come to Canada as an open work permit, that number of TRs, temporary residents, is only going to grow. You will be very soon looking at that number reaching 1.5 million if it hasn't already reached. I don't have the official numbers, official statistics. I'm talking to you about based on the past year's statistics, and that number was already touching 1 million plus. With that high number of people, how easy it is for them to become permanent resident, I will say it's very difficult. You can see that already. I'm not sure if you're following us on Twitter or not, but you can see so many international students who are already in Canada. So many workers who are already inside Canada who obviously want to choose a pathway to become a PR are able to just not find anything. They're not able to see any pathway. They're not able to see any route. There's nothing working out for them. At the end of the day, your scores matter. If you're not able to score high, then it's not going to work. Look at the scores, 500 plus. Who can score 500 plus? For everybody else, get into the queue, wait for your turn to come, and then we will see whatever happens whenever that happens. So not a good sign, not a good scene there. So whenever you get told, come to Canada, convert your visit visa to work permit, ask them how. How is it going to happen? Just don't watch these TikTok videos and these YouTube videos where they say like this. And they make all these kind of silly, funny, and ridiculous actions, and they try to tell you that you can get a work permit in 2 weeks without IELTS, without LMI, and all that bull, and you fall for it. Okay, don't do that. Be smart. Understand what the program is. Understand what the stream is. Don't fall for all these fancy advertisements which says it's a walk in the park. If you're an international student considering Canada, be very, very smart. Why do you want to come to Canada? Is it going to be easy? If you are coming to Canada with the thought or with the understanding that you will become a permanent resident, you have to know that it's not going to be easy. You have to have your path clearly laid out. You have to understand by studying in Canada, what are the pathways that will take you to permanent resident? Is it going to be achievable? Because if you are in the scores of 300s and you're not going to work on your IELTS, then it's going to be very difficult, because once you come here, you will need the employer support. So if you're coming to Canada as an international student, even if now you're preparing to do that, come to Canada. Ahlan wa sahlan. You're most welcome. Do it. But be very smart. The day you land, you should start looking for an employer who's going to help you with the job offer, who's going to support you. Mind you, in the days forward, if you cannot secure support from an employer, getting your Canadian PR is going to be almost not possible. I don't want to use the word impossible. I'm just going to say almost not possible. It's going to be extremely difficult. You are now in a rat race with more than 1.2, 1.3 million people who also want the same thing. And the quotas are not in your favor. Let's say each year under the economic immigration program, you have a total of 266,000 quota for 2023. 266. Out of 266, mind you, there is Atlantic immigration program of 8,500. There is caregiver and agri-food pilot, which most of you are not going to be in, 8,500. Then there is federal business, which is startup visa and self-employed, which is 3,500. And then there is 25,000 for TR to PR old applications, which also are not for you. So basically what I'm saying is the total number of economic immigration quota is only about 230,000 people. If your quota for the whole year is only 230,000 people, and there are 1.2, 1.3 million of you out there, Do the math, guys. I mean, simple math. Can you get it? Can you make it? Can you break it? Is it going to happen? And we are not even talking about people outside Canada. We are only talking about people inside Canada. If you cannot make it happen, people outside Canada already have it so difficult. If you're inside Canada, you have everything going for you in terms of the Canadian experience points, Canadian education points, job offers, employer support, PNPs, provincial nominee programs. And yet, if you cannot make it happen, this is going to be very difficult. Next on my list is implementation of Bill C19. As stated by IRCC, their IT systems will be ready for this implementation by spring of 2023. If we have to believe IRCC's IT systems, then yeah, I mean, they are claiming they will be ready by spring 2023. Now, I have some very serious doubts if at all they are equipped to do anything with their IT systems at all. If they are making changes for the new Bill C19 implementation, post-spring, I don't think, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think spring they can manage the changes. Even if the changes are there, it'll be full of glitches again. There is no doubt about it. As far as the publication, as far as the information available is concerned, the IT systems will be ready by post-spring. Now, that is one thing. Second thing is, by the month of February, the Parliament will have to make a decision, will have to announce the categories that would be taken into consideration, that will be factored into the Bill C19. That information will be available to us in the month of February, which is on the 5th sitting day of the Parliament after the 31st January deadline. And therefore, you will have more information as to whether your occupation will be considered, whether your factor points will be considered, would you be eligible, should you be looking forward to this or not. All of that information, hopefully, we will have in February when we can talk more about in details. And from there on, it will be implemented somewhere after spring. I do not know when, because until such time, in my opinion, express entry draws in its current state should continue. And if they continue, hopefully, depending on the number of invitations coming into and how many invitations they keep issuing, you'll see a drop in the scores. And based on the drop of the scores, hopefully, we can see a scores of 480s being hit sooner than later. So that's your Bill C19. I know a lot of people are freaking out, but it can be good for some, because if your occupation is included in the categories, then you would have some. But also keep in mind, and that's another thing which people are not understanding, this whole Bill C19 has been created keeping in mind that they want to give a lot of importance to the inside Canada applicants. The whole motion M44 was targeting inside Canada applicants. And therefore, Bill C19, in my opinion, along with the occupation requirement, will also factor in certain Canadian components. So work experience, education, job offer, all those factors will also be included. And therefore, you will see a very complex Bill C19 implementation. The categories cannot be only occupation-based. There could also be speculation yet. Okay, so please don't hold me on that one. It's speculation that, and I'm assuming that the categories would have to have certain additional component so that they can use this whole system and tool in a much better manner. And at the same time, also reduce this imbalance that has been created within the market of so many TRs who are not able to become PRs. So that is another thing to keep in mind. Bill C19 sometime in post-spring. Third that I have for you is the revision of express entry. IRCC has already indicated in the document that they issued in response to motion M44, which was also named strategies to expand PR pathways. And that said that they are currently reviewing revision of express entry points. They are only probably looking to increase the points for Canadian work experience, education, job offer. These are the three main components. French points have already been increased twice, or rather they introduced once in 2017 and then they increased the points. They almost doubled it last year. So French, I'm not sure how much that's going to affect, but Canadian work experience, Canadian education, job offer. These three are the three main factors where I see that the points being revised. Now with these three, how much points are going to be revised? That's something which have to be seen. This will benefit a lot of people inside Canada. If you're inside Canada, if you are not able to earlier go on top of the queue, now you will be able to do that as well. Again, it pushes back people who are outside Canada. They were already at a disadvantage. They were already not able to get those important Canadian points. And now with all these implementations, all these revisions, they will be further pushed back. But this revision of express entry, there is no date. I do not know when that will be done. It is only anticipated sometime this year. When this year, could be middle of this year, could be end of this year, could be the last date of this year. I don't know when that will happen. This is something still in the works. Fourth, PNPs will play a big role. The PNP target for 2023 is 105,500. Earlier, when the quotas were announced last year, for 2023, this number was only 85,000. So basically 20,000 increase in the quotas for PNPs, which is a big number, and which basically tells you that what you should be looking to do is absolutely concentrating on PNPs. They definitely will play a huge role going forward because their quotas have gone up by 20,000. And actually for this year, their quotas are more than express entry. Express entry quota is only 82,880. PNP quota is 105,500, which is almost 23,000 more than the express entry. So you can only imagine how much of a difference this is going to make. French will continue to be a huge advantage. So if you are still on the fence about French language, then please quickly jump onto it. Add French as a second language. Not only can you improve your express entry scores with French language, you can also take advantage of a lot of PNP programs that are driven towards Francophone immigration. IRCC's mandate letter to Sean Fraser, the immigration minister, has also indicated increase of Francophone immigration throughout Canada, like outside Quebec. So you will see more and more provinces will start introducing newer streams, if they don't already have it, to encourage Francophone immigration. So if you're still on the fence for that, I think you definitely should start doing something with French and adding that as your second language, because that is where the most advantage will come if you are outside Canada. There is a new pilot program also in the works, which is the municipal level program. But again, outside Canada, it doesn't give you any advantage. This is again going to be for people inside Canada. If you are in that municipality, in that municipal area which has been identified, you will need support of the municipal authority, and you will need to get a job offer, and only then you will be eligible. However, the details of this program have not been announced, not been published. We expect this sometime towards later part of this year. Reunification of families for permanent residents and citizens. And I already told you earlier that they have allowed for open work permits for all occupations in Canada. It's very strange that they have done that for temporary residents, for workers in Canada, but they haven't done it for permanent residents or citizens. It's very strange. A lot of PRs, a lot of people who are married, who are permanent residents, who are citizens, even after they get married, they have no provision to invite their spouses to Canada. On the contrary, if their spouses apply for a visit visa, in most cases, their visit visas are refused because IRCC says, well, your spouse is in Canada, means your ties to Canada are stronger. Therefore, we think you will not return back. Like, duh, obviously they don't want to return back. They want to apply for PR. But while your PR application is being processed, they want to be with their family. It's normal. I mean, wouldn't you want to do that? IRCC being IRCC, they have other thoughts, other things in mind. And therefore, this has been a huge bone of contention. This has also been a political agenda at some point of time. But for some reason, IRCC continues to play deaf with this thing. As per the mandate letter, this is expected that within this year, they would come up with something which would also indicate that there is an eligibility for spouses of permanent residents and citizens and their spouses. So for the spouses to come to Canada as either on a work permit or on a visit visa under the family reunification. Fingers crossed to see this one happening, because this is a cause of a severe stress for a lot of families. So if they can do that for temporary residents, they sure can do it for permanent residents as well. On the contrary, they should have done it for permanent residents already. So fingers crossed, and hoping that this one gets implemented sooner than later. And finally, on my list is the citizenship application fee is to be waived. This has been the political tune that liberals have been singing since 2019, almost 3 to 4 years back. And this was also in the mandate letter. And this is, again, which was understood to be an implementation, is hoping to be implemented this year. There is a lot of expectation this should be done sooner than later. The citizenship application fee is to be waived. And again, no clear indication on the date, just the expectation that this should happen this year. This should have happened last year, didn't happen, but hopefully this should happen this year. So this is the outlook for 2023. This is what I expect. hope to see as and how things will progress, and a lot of things that a lot of you should be able to grasp from that and understand from that. Hopefully some of you will be able to take advantage if you are preparing well. But by and large, in my opinion, and I know a lot of you are going to give me flack for it, probably hate me for it, call me names for it, but I would rather be honest with you. I would rather be clear and transparent with you than to do it otherwise. And I am telling you right now, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for people outside Canada who have no Canadian connection. If you're still thinking it's going to be easy, then you really need to watch this video again, or probably something else again. So to understand, the numbers are not adding up. Canada just does not have enough quotas to call or invite people or to encourage people to come to Canada. They just do not have the availability of numbers. It is not going to be easy. There are more than 1.2 to 1.3 million people in Canada who are already here, who are looking for pathways. They're not able to get it. So outside Canada is even going to be more difficult. Every political party, every political agenda is only gearing up to give advantage to people inside Canada. Therefore, if you're watching this and if you're outside Canada, then you should be aware that it's going to become very difficult. What you can do is obviously keep your eyes on PNP, add French as a second language, still come to Canada as an international student. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying if you're coming to Canada as an international student, know your pathway well. And if you get approved and if you do come from day one itself, your eyes should be on the ball. Your eyes should be a PR, and you should be able to chart your way out right from day one. Whether it's finding PNP support, employer support, or whether whatever other pathway that would be. If you're a high scorer in CRS, for example, you're already at 475. You're coming to Canada with a 1-year program and 1-year work experience in mind, fair enough. But also keep Bill C19 in mind, because Bill C19 is not going to favor everybody. It will still favor only few. If you're choosing to study, what program should I study? What province should I come to? Look at provinces that have programs, or rather that have programs that are targeting international students without any work experience, without any employer support. For example, Ontario has a master's and a PhD program whereby if you have completed master's, you are eligible, apply for nomination. If you've studied master's program in British Columbia in I think 7 different fields, complete your master's, apply for nomination. There are a couple of programs in New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Labrador. You are completing your graduate stream, or you're completing your postgraduate program or a master's, you apply for nomination. Target these programs, understand where these programs will take you, and then choose these programs to then come to Canada to study, and then chart your pathway for permanent residence. And that's probably how it's going to be. As I said, French is a great option. If you can do that, then excellent. And last one and final is finding an employer with a job offer. I know it's ridiculous, it's difficult, it's frustrating, but it's a fact. If you have an employer who can support you, that's going to be basically your ticket into the country. That's basically all I have to tell you. If you are still here, you haven't subscribed to the channel, then that is all I ask of you. Subscribe to the channel. Want to see those numbers going up so that more and more people can get the benefit of whatever I have to share. If you're not following us on Instagram, then please do. If you wish to make an appointment to discuss your case, your background, your profile one-on-one, then please, that is the appointment. I'll be happy to talk to you and explain these things to you in detail on a very specific level. If you wish to avail of our services, premium paid services, of course, we are a full-fledged Canadian immigration company, so we do offer immigration applications of all types. So yes, that's the email address. Drop us an email and we'll be happy to guide you further. Thank you so much. Take care. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend.